If there's another place we can see how climate affects landscape, it's the Channel Islands. The islands are a kind of snapshot in time, thanks to their isolation from the mainland. Jesse and I set out for the island of Santa Rosa. It's one of 4 northern islands that actually used to be one large landmass, known as Santa Rosa. But then the climate began to change. The atmosphere began to warm, the ice melted, sea levels rose, and much of that super island ended up underwater.
Hi there.
Hi.
Nathan.
Hey, Amy.
Hi, nice
Welcome
to Santa Rosa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
welcome to Santa
Santa
Rosa, you
Rosa.
guys. Hey. Hey, Jesse, how you doing?
Let me take you over here and I want to show you this special spot.
Okay, lead the way. I love these trees, yeah. I've never seen eucalyptus trees like this, ever.
They grew sideways here, the wind blows so hard.
Wow, so that's Santa Cruz Island right there.
Yeah, that's the west end of Santa Cruz Island, so it goes about 24 miles long.
I love those mountains sticking up out of the fog. It's like we're in a different world.
Yeah, it's the wind that causes that fog layer too, blowing and it stacks up when it gets to the island.
If we were to go back 400 or 500 generations, I mean, what would this look like?
First of all, the islands would actually be all one big island, which I think is the thing that's really unique about this landscape, is that you have 4 separate islands today, but at the end of the last ice age, the islands actually formed one large island called Santa Rosa. The islands were probably more forested. They had a lot more pines and different kinds of trees on the island, probably more water as well. And then seas rose when glaciers started to melt. So when the seas started to rise and the landscapes in between the islands started to get inundated underneath the water, then the islands kind of formed how you recognize them today as a Channel Islands National Park, probably roughly about 7,000 years ago or so.
I know that there's been fossil evidence that they've had for cypress, for pines, for Douglas firs. So I just love the idea that that small section of Torrey pine there may be the landscape that the first peoples of the island would have kind of interacted with and seen.
Yeah. The earliest known evidence of human occupation on the island was actually human remains that were identified right over the ridge there on the other side of the island. And it was identified in Arlington Springs, and so we refer to it as Arlington Springs Man. Yet another reason why these are amazing, amazing places. It was identified in 1959 by an archaeologist named Phil Orr, who was associated with the Santa Barbara Natural History Museum. It would have been, again, a very different landscape at that particular time period. It would have been a little bit cooler, wetter, more water on the island. It would have had more trees on the island at that time period for at least a couple thousand years after that, until it started to change into a little bit more kind of how it is today.
What's striking to me is that humans lived here for a couple thousand years before the sea started to inundate the land. And like, what must it have been like just for the people to see their homeland sink beneath the seas?
I can only imagine. Just kind of seeing these areas where, this is a good spot for a particular species because they're in a certain marine habitat, for instance, and then, within your lifetime, you see that kind of change because it's gotten, deeper and deeper and deeper into the sea, into the subtidal area.
So the land that they looked at changed, probably also their food sources changed, right? And they adapted to astounding changes in their environment.
That's right, yeah. It's the ability to adapt, for everything on the island. Humans, the plants, the marine life, they've gone through so many changes in the past 13,000 years. And, look at them. They're beautiful islands thriving today, as are, while the Chumash aren't on the islands anymore, they're still thriving communities that you have on the mainland of California today.